Alrighty, we're here for the special Chanukah edition of Crowns for Kings. We got 5 candles, 5th night.
Of Chanukah.
And the theme of Chanukah is all about that pure jug of oil.
Yes.
Right? They destroyed the temple, everything is defiled, they found the one pure jug, and they lit the menorah with that. So it's kind of like everybody has, or the message being, everybody has a part of them that remains pure even when everything else gets defiled. So they're misbehaving, not doing what they're supposed to, and they know they're not doing what they're supposed to. But somewhere in them is a part of them that says, I'm pure, I don't belong in this. And you activate it, miracles happen. It shines for eight days.
So when you tap into like your inner self,
Yeah.
it'll reflect on the result of what happens.
Yeah, exactly. So do you have something on that theme you want to share?
Yes. So there was a time in school where there was a kid's pencil on the floor, and I knew personally that like he was looking for it, so I took it. And for a day, I sort of didn't feel guilty, right? I didn't feel like anything. I took it, and then like something inside of me told me like, hey, this isn't right, and you should give it back, right? But I didn't, so I waited a day. The next day, I saw like he really wanted the pencil, so I gave it to him.
He didn't know you had it.
Yeah, he didn't know I had it,
Okay.
and he was like looking for it, and it was like a cool pencil, like one of the lead pencils with like the extra erasers that come inside of it, which is pretty cool. So I took it, and for 2 days I held it. I didn't want to give it back to him, and then I finally gave it back to him because I felt something inside me. I knew I was doing something wrong. Once I gave it back to him, he actually told me I could keep it, it was very nice, and it just showed me that, hey, like I did something wrong. I admitted to it, and now that I tapped into my inner self, and I knew that it was wrong, and I reacted to it, and I did something, it sort of came back to me, and something good happened to me now that I've helped him, and now that I've like reflected off myself or did something good, and I knew on the inside it was good.
Right.
So now that I did it, he did something for me, and it was
Right. So that's the funny thing. Like when you have something inside of you that knows what you should and shouldn't be doing.
Yeah,
Everybody has that thing, right? So like someone prepares, like he's planning, I want to do something that I know I'm not supposed to, but I'm planning, I'm going to get it done, it's going to be fun, it's going to be amazing, it's going to be cool. And then you plan, prepare, and you do it, and you look at yourself and like, was it really worth it? You know?
Mm-hmm.
And then sometimes when you're not really expecting it, but you do something good, and you feel like that was right.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because everybody has, it's essentially what we call a soul, right? It's what we call an neshama. There's a part of me inside that knows where I'm supposed to be and where I'm not supposed to be. And when you are where you're supposed to be, you know it inside of you. You know, it's like that like, what do they call it? The compass, like the northern.
Yeah.
Like it always points in the right direction. There's always that part of you. And you actually, it's a message of hope, really. Because no matter how far down you've gone, you know you have that inside. You can always go back.
I find that for people, no one really starts off with a bad thought. I find that everyone has a good thought, and then the bad takes over it.
Right.
So that's my perspective of it.
No, would you start off from a place of, I want to do good, I want to be good, I want to do the right thing, and then somewhere along the way,
opportunity shows that like you could do something that like everyone would laugh, but you know it's bad.
Right.
So for some, it's like identified. You could see that like they could stop it, but they don't want to.
Right.
And it's just like a way, like it shows you that you can stop it because you have it in you. You just don't want to. And for some people, it shows more than others.
Right.
So it's easier, but
yeah, it's kind of like, in other words,
everyone has it.
Yeah, everybody
has an ability.
Even if like things look fun when you're not doing what you're supposed to,
yeah,
there's a part of you that knows you're not supposed to be doing it.
Yeah.
And when you actually do what you're supposed to, that part of you feels right, and it ends up
being rewarded.
It's not, yes. It's not like it's more fun necessarily than doing.
But it's self-rewarding.
But it's self-rewarding because you know there's nothing more rewarding than knowing that you are doing what you're supposed to be doing. Yeah. Right? You know, when you're born, you're created, God had you in mind. So what did he picture you doing?
Something good.
Exactly. So when you're doing what you're supposed to, and you know that right now, I am living everything that I was meant to be. There's nothing more rewarding than that, right?
Yeah. And
it's just distractions in life that get...
Yeah, and when you do something good, it rewards itself. Maybe you don't get physical reward or like popularity, but on the inside, it's good, and most of the time something good could come out of it. When you do something bad, you get a physical reward, or like maybe gain popularity,
a laugh, a popularity, or whatever.
But regardless, you're still doing something bad, and it's gonna affect the person who you did it to.
Right.
And
somewhere inside, there's this hole growing that you know you're not doing what you're supposed to.
Exactly.
So it's like a deep, like you feel a deep void.
Understanding of it.
Yeah. It's funny because, like, you know, when you do, when you stop people on the streets to like shake lulav netter, bow shofar, put on tefillin, right? So a lot of times, especially when it comes to like the lulav netter, because it's such an easy one, and you tell the guy, look, it's 10 seconds, just take it, make a blessing, shake it, right? So a lot of times people will do it just literally to get this rabbi to stop bugging them. They're like, okay, stop bugging me, okay, I'll do it and go. But when they're done, they'll almost always say, oh, Rabbi, thank you so much, I really needed that, right? And they feel it. They didn't plan to do anything good. They don't even know necessarily why it's good. Yeah, but when they're in that moment, they know this is right, and then they feel it and they thank me for it.
And maybe it wasn't in their mind to do it because of the good.
Right.
But eventually, you can get something out of it.
Right.
And you're not really losing anything from doing something good. All you're losing is the bad thing telling you not to do it.
Right. So the big question, obviously, is how do you make sure you're remembering this all the time, right? In other words, like, we can talk about it here, but then when you're faced with a situation, you know, the popularity or the good laughs or whatever it is you're looking for right then and there seem more attractive than. So how do you?
And sometimes you don't really remember it, and you do something, and you don't feel good about it, but the more you do good, the more you feel like rewarded. So you're just gonna do it again. So the more good you do, it's going to self-reward, and you're going to want to do more.
So it's like a muscle you have to exercise. Just engage in the physical act of doing good things.
Exactly.
And what do they call it? Like the that loop, the endorphin loop, where like you feel good about it, so you want to do it again, and then you feel good about it, so you want to do it again. So it's like you end up. Isn't that what it's called?
I think, I'm not sure.
You know,
it's a cycle.
Yeah, but you know, like social media companies, they have like this like. They have a feed that make you feel good about being on it, so that you want to click again and again and again. So you use that same exercise, but to do something good. I forgot what it's called. There's a word for it. I don't remember what it's called. Where like there's like they feed you. Yeah, they feed you feeling good, and then you want to do it again and again and again. Exactly. And again. But if you exercise the muscle of doing good things, you want to do more and more. So it actually connects to Chanukah in two ways. First of all, in the increase of candles, right? First one, then two, then three. As you're lighting, you want to do more and more. And also, one of the reasons why we do the Chanukah geld, like the giving gifts of Chanukah money, is one of the reasons is to educate children on how to give charity. Right? A child doesn't have his own money, so he doesn't know how to give. But when you do it, yeah, one of the reasons is that children should have their own money, and then what do you do with your money? Now you learn to actually give up charity, because it's an exercise you have to practice to give away, so that,
like a giving muscle, like this.
Exactly, it's literally a giving muscle, which is why there's one thing about giving big sums of money when you have to, when someone needs something or whatever, but then there is literally just giving a coin on it every day, just that you get into that action of learning to give and training that muscle, and like you said, you feel right about it, and then it keeps on.
Like with my Chanukah money, I gave like some of it to charity, and I felt good about it. I didn't feel like I lost something. I felt more like I gained something.
Right. Because you did the right thing.
Yeah, I gained a sense of I did something right, and I'm not expecting to get something back, but it could be a result to it.
So you know the Hebrew word for charity? Tzedakah?
Oh yeah.
Of course, right. So the word tzedakah comes from the word tzedek, which means justice.
Yeah.
It's almost like tzedakah is not a charity, like, oh, I'm this special guy, I'm giving away. It's actually what you're supposed to do. And that's what you're talking about. So when you do what you're supposed to do, you know you're doing the right thing, and you feel deeply good and right about it.
So it's not like a suggestion to do it. It's more like a demand.
Yeah. And what God gives you all these gifts, and He gives them to you because He's expecting you to do something with it, right?
Yeah.
Which gets back to what we were saying before. When you know and feel like in this moment I'm doing everything I was supposed to do when God created me, it feels amazing because you're in the right. You're you're in the balance. You're in the right place. You're right there where you're supposed to be.
You have the right mentality about
exactly.
it. Everything's right.
Everything feels right. When you're doing something that you're not supposed to, and you're getting good laughs, and you're getting popularity, or whatever, but there's something that doesn't feel right about it.
The result of it isn't rewarding.
Right. There's some part of you that's not lining up to where you're supposed. That's right.
Yeah.
Whereas when you're doing tzedakah, like the demand, you're saying, because this is where I'm supposed to be, you feel right in line. You know you're supposed to be there. And you feel.
You feel. First, you're getting money, and it's deserving what you're doing with it.
Right.
So you're getting money and you're not putting it to waste. And you can't just say, oh, it's money, it's paper. Because if you give it away, it has a bigger effect than buying something and having to get rid of it in, a year.
Right.
So if you give it, then you could be gaining something out of it. You could be helping a lot of kids. You could be helping people. You could be doing a lot more things than just buying a pair of shoes and saying,
and a year from now it doesn't fit you anymore.
Yeah. Like buying shoes and saying, hey, I spent all my money. I'll just get more next year. If you give, and you have a higher chance of getting back than if you buy something and then sell it to someone.
There's a greater value to the giving than there is just to accumulating more stuff. Right? Because you're accumulating stuff when you buy things, when you buy stuff. When you're giving, you're doing what you're supposed to. You're gaining a much deeper sense of fulfillment in doing the right thing, what I'm supposed to be doing now. It's all connecting right back to where we began. That jug of oil, that part of me inside that never becomes impure, that always knows what's right and what's not right.
Exactly. So no matter what you're doing at a time, at any time, still a sense of you saying, hey, that's not right, or hey, that's right.
Yeah. And like you said, the way to make sure that you're actually on track with that is to exercise that muscle.
Yeah.
Get in the habit of doing good and right things, and it'll become more naturally and easier.
Exactly, and they use the oil in a good way. They lit the menorah, and it
grew.
Yeah, and I'm guessing if they would have used it for a bad reason or to do something else with it, to cook or for example,
and they would have eaten a lot, because that would be the end of it.
Yeah, and then they wouldn't have gained anything out of it, and it wouldn't have lit anything, it wouldn't have started anything. But since they used it in a good way, it sort of relates, because they could have done something bad, but inside something was telling them to do it in a good way. And just like when you do good, it makes you feel better, and it's just a continuous chain of doing good. If you use something in a good way, it's just gonna continue a chain of.
It's incredible you're saying that, because
gaining.
In theory, the Maccabees, right? They had one jug of oil that was only supposed to last for one day.
1 day, yeah.
Why did they use it? They should have maybe split it up and said, a little bit. But they put it all in, having this trust and saying, let's just do the right thing. Let's just light the menorah. We have one thing. Let's just do it now. Mm-hmm. And because they had that faith, in theory, they could have used impure oil. Mm-hmm. Because of the situation, they just come from war. Torah says, that you could use the impure oil, but they said no. They had this inner compass that said, no, we have pure oil. Let's use that. Let's put it all in there.
Yeah.
And then the miracle grows.
And the same thing for charity or tzedakah. If you give, you're only gaining, you're not losing. So by them doing that, they could have said, oh, we're losing. But no. Right. Now they're just gaining from it because of what the effect did.
They could have said, we're losing all our oil, we have no left.
Yeah.
But
in theory they could have said that, but they didn't.
Yeah.
And eventually it helped them. So if you use tzedakah money and you just spend it or throw it away, it's not really going to help. If you use it for a good reason, you're just going to gain. And it's going to be more effective.
That's very good.